Hello, Steve Mills here, and I'm here on the Success in Table Tennis podcast. It's great to be back, and today I've just got one tip for you. And, there are many different things that you can do if you're a young man or a young lady and you want to become better at table tennis, or indeed any sport, to be honest. Even if you're a dyed-in-the-wool, old boy like me who's, been around for a while, perhaps you play local league and you'd like to become better, then my tip today, I think, will help you. But particularly, if you've got designs on greatness, you're perhaps a county junior, young man, young lady, and you really want to do better. My tip is really simple. It's this: raise your game. That's it. If you want to do better, you've got to raise your game. Now, what does that actually mean? It means you've got to take your game, and your game could be anything from, your shots, your footwork, your fitness levels. It could be your mentality. It could be the way you train, the belief you have in yourself, the coaches that you've got around you, the people you practice with, how much you practice and what you practice are all things that if you want to do better, then you've got to raise your game. It's literally as simple as that. There's a lovely saying that I heard many years ago, and that is, if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you've always got. And it is so true, I think, in pretty much everything in life. And it certainly is in table tennis. I remember in my interview with Des Douglas, one of the things we both agreed on is that the top 10 players at the time when we played were the top 10, not purely, but certainly had a massive influence on the fact that they were all full-time players. And they were all able to put the time in, the hours in, on the table to practice. Often they'd put the effort in to go and practice with the best players in the world. Des said that, he felt as though he'd got to the best in England, and so he couldn't stay here. He believed that he wouldn't get any better if he stayed and played basically against players who weren't as good as he was. So he up sticks, went to Germany, and spent literally 10 years playing for one of the top German clubs, playing against the best players in the world, literally week in, week out. And, that was certainly part of what made Des go from being a top international player anyway to being one of the best players in the world. That I think is what the secret of being successful is all about. There's no shortcuts. There's no way round it. You can be talented. I understand that, but there's a lot of talented players around, and the difference between the talented players and the true, in a way, world-class players is often, it's not talent, it comes down to the amount of work that they put in, and there's no getting by. So raise your standards, practice more, practice harder, train better. Practice the more relevant things. Practice against better people. Go and watch people. How much time do you spend watching world-class table tennis? Because that can have an effect on your game. It's one of the best ways of learning something is to watch somebody who's good at it and do the same things. You get the same or similar results. Take each and every element of your game. In business, which I'm in now, there's something called key performance indicators. And if you think about that from a table tennis point of view, there are key performance indicators in your game. Things like your level of fitness, the number or percentage of serves you get back, how many points you win with your serve and your forehand and your backhand, and so on and so forth. and we need to be very good, A, at measuring it, but B, improving those results. So that's all I've got to say. I hope that was of value. I'm going to be interviewing a real star of the table tennis world very soon. I've got my eyes set on a real major star, but I'll tell you more about that if and when I manage to get hold of him. So that's it. Thanks very much for listening, and speak soon.